That's easy. That's an easy prediction. And so how much of that is Bitcoin? Look, I can make an absolutely airtight case that we're going to gold equivalents, okay, which is about 5 trillion of market cap. So 10x from here. And why do I say that? Well, because there's 11-ish trillion of gold. About half of that is jewelry and chalices and gold on the dome and all that stuff. That doesn't count. The monetary value, which is in central bank, vaults and people's Swiss bank account vaults and backing GLD and all that stuff. That's about 5.5 trillion. So equivalents to that, because it's better, easy. Beyond that, can I get it to a portion of circulating supply of global currencies? Sure. And look, you talk to Murray Stahl, who, I'm a huge admirer of. He runs a firm called Horizon Kinetics. He makes me seem bearish, right? He makes an elegant case why 100% we're going to 86 trillion total global money supply. Good money will crowd out all bad money, and we will all transact. Well, come on. I mean, I got the Bitcoin pants and the Bitcoin socks on today. And look, I actually take full credit. 2 weeks ago, when Silicon Valley Bank was going down and everybody was saying, the blood's running in the streets, and as Lord Rothschild said, right, that's when you want to invest. I should have worn my red pants. I have a pair of red pants. And I broke out the Bitcoin orange pants. And we're up over 30% since then. And in the spite of global financial crisis too. So I'm taking full credit. I'm just kidding around. But I am wildly bullish on Bitcoin. I am wildly bullish on the future of crypto broadly. And I know some people don't like that because they're like, you're a shit coiner, but whatever. I'm bullish on the technology. I'm bullish on human ingenuity. I'm bullish on the future because it will always be brighter. We have hiccups along the way, sure. Do we got to overcome obstacles? Sure. Am I probably
This is part 2 of Mark Yusko's interview explaining what's happening with the bank's collapse and the Bitcoin growth. If you missed part 1, you might want to watch it after this, as Mark goes through some crazy conspiracy theories on why the US government, the Fed, and probably even the CIA are behind all that's happening, and how this can be all part of a bigger master plan to save the US empire. And yes, that includes the creation of Bitcoin. But this video is also filled with value. If you don't know Mark Yusko, he's an investor and hedge fund manager from Morgan Creek Capital, a company that manages over $2 billion in customers' funds. Mark has been investing in disruptive technology for years, having massive success and profit doing it. Today, he's also advocating for blockchain technology and explaining why Bitcoin is the best form of money we ever had. So please pay close attention until the end so you don't miss anything, including what his company is investing in.
So my granddaughter, born 6 months ago, okay, she's a Zoomer, right? She's a Gen A. She will never have one of these. She will never have a leather wallet. Never. She will never touch paper currency.
Wow.
She will transact with a digital wallet and digital currency. That's easy. That's an easy prediction. And so how much of that is Bitcoin? Look, I can make an absolutely airtight case that we're going to gold equivalents, okay, which is about 5 trillion of market cap. So 10x from here. And why do I say that? Well, because there's 11-ish trillion of gold. About half of that is jewelry and chalices and gold on the dome and all that stuff. That doesn't count. The monetary value, which is in central bank, vaults and people's Swiss bank account vaults and backing GLD and all that stuff. That's about 5.5 trillion. So equivalents to that, because it's better, easy. Beyond that, can I get it to a portion of circulating supply of global currencies? Sure. And look, you talk to Murray Stahl, who, I'm a huge admirer of. He runs a firm called Horizon Kinetics. He makes me seem bearish, right? He makes an elegant case why 100% we're going to 86 trillion total global money supply. Good money will crowd out all bad money, and we will all transact forever and always in Bitcoin because it is perfect money. And when he says it, yep, I believe it. Now, I'm not quite there to articulating it, but I love listening to him talk about it. So here's the thing. The way I look at it is pretty simple. Every halving, we've added a zero, which means we've 10x'd the market cap of Bitcoin. So we went from 10 to 100, from 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 10,000, and this next halving next year in February is 100. And so, but then we will always go through that price because that's the fair value. We go through that price, and what's the number going to be? I don't know. Going to be 350, 400, 500 before the next crash. Depends on how much leverage gets back in the system. I think it'll be like we went to 69 on a 10 because we had crazy amounts of leverage. That was never smart. But could we get to half of that? Yeah. 3 biggest crypto-friendly banks all go down within a week of each other. That's not accidental. And then a week later, one of the 2 big on-ramps suddenly is under attack. Just seems too coincidental. It's kind of like the fact that Hunter Biden sat on a board of a Ukrainian company and Ukraine becomes central to domestic foreign policy. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm probably going to get audited or worse, but when W was proximate to the Cheney presidency, I knew who to be afraid of. Dick Cheney, he was a tough dude. He was a tough SOB. And W was an affable kind of stand-in. Now, as an adult, I love W. I think he's funny. I think he's talented. I think he's a good humanitarian. I kind of admire him now. But as a president, I'm like, yeah, not so much. But I knew who to be afraid of. The problem is now I don't know who to be afraid of. Because I ain't really afraid of the big guy, and I certainly ain't afraid of his second at all. So someone else is pulling the strings, and I think I know who it is, but I don't really know, and that scares me.
How is Mark's company getting ready for the bull run that's about to happen? Where should people be putting their money?
So there's 2 parts to Morgan Creek. There's the legacy business, Morgan Creek Capital Management, and I'm titularly the head, but really I have 3 teams that run those businesses. And so I'm there if they need me. I'm the CIO. I set strategy. I'm the CEO. But I have 3 great team leaders. One that does Chinese growth equity on the ground in Shanghai, which no one wants to talk about. I cannot understand why no one wants to invest. Like I tell us that my favorite little business. So we invested in this company. They deliver food to restaurants, like Cisco, SYSCO in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of a lot. My wife jokes I'm frequently wrong, never in doubt. I'm like, well, occasionally wrong, but I am certain, again, as the sun is going to rise, the people in China are going to eat in restaurants more in the next 10 years. So that business is growing like 60% compounded, and we're minting money. And, George is invested in Bill and Julian and Druck and a whole bunch of really smart people are invested in that business. And no one wants to talk about China. I don't understand. So we've done a good job making them the enemy. But so I have a team in Shanghai that does that. I have another team based in Chicago that does a really unique strategy in hedge funds. And then I have a third team here in Chapel Hill that does early stage venture, kind of really early, like small venture, kind of super angel, micro VC. Then I spend most of my time with the Morgan Creek Digital side, and Morgan Creek Digital is investing in fact, we just had a meeting on this an hour and a half ago, the 4 pillars of the digital age. So basically infrastructure, hardware. So like Ledger, for example, is an investment. We love the physical hardware. I think Ledger will be the Apple of Web3. So you had the browser for Web 1, you had the smartphone for Web 2, and I think you'll have the Stacks wallet for Web 3. So we like hardware. We also have a chip business, an Israeli firm that makes ASICs called Chain Reaction that is going to blow the doors off the world when they release the first American-made ASIC. Significantly faster than Bitmain, and so fast, this is crazy, so fast and so efficient, Intel shuttered the group that was competing with them.
Already? They just opened that, didn't they?
Already. They just gave up. They just said, nope, we're not going to spend any more money. And they shuttered the team. So really, really exciting tech. So we like hardware. Then we like data, big data. Data is the new oil. So let's be it. AI, everybody loves AI. We've been talking about AI for a long time. In fact, 3 years ago, we service marked the term blockchain intelligence, which is the integration of AI and blockchain, because we think they will become increasingly collaborative. And blockchain is the 4th pillar. So those 4 pillars are what are going to define the digital age, and we invest in all of those. I'm not an engineer, but the thing I think about, the mental models that I use for this is the internet is established. It took 80 years to fully establish, but it got established. There are 5 protocols that matter. There's TCP/IP at the base. There's FTP that moves files. There's SMTP that moves emails. There's HTTP that does websites, and there's www that kind of ties everything together. So I can make an argument that same kind of 5 layers stack is for Web3. Bitcoin is the base layer. Filecoin is like FTP. Ethereum's like www, and Polkadot, Cosmos, Avalanche, something does the SMTP, HTTP, I don't know. Okay, that's probably where I lean. There's another group that says, nope, Bitcoin, one chain to rule them all. Bitcoin, Lightning, L3, L4, and beyond. Yeah, ordinals is kind of making me see that there could be some there. Lightning's not big enough yet, but there's some there. In fact, one of the questions you sent me was if you want to send a bunch of money around the world, how would you do it? Like I would use Stripe. Now we're investors, full disclosure, but yeah, I mean, you can send money anywhere in the world, and that person gets 100 cents on the dollar over the Bitcoin blockchain. It's unbelievable technology. So I would do that. Then the third mental model is a bunch of L1s with bridges. And there are a lot of people that favor that, but these engineers that I was with this week were like, no, too many attack vectors.
Yeah. And Mark also gives excellent advice on how to be a good investor and how he's been performing so well over the years, which looks like the same strategy Kevin O'Leary is using.
I said, I'm not a techie, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not going to solve this. The good news, I don't have to. The good news, I get to invest in all of them. And some of them will go to zero, and that's okay. You know, the funny thing is, investing's this funny game where for whatever reason, spectators think you have to be right all the time. I crack up. People will go back and look at something I tweeted 4 years ago and say, you were wrong. I'm like, dude, I have changed my mind 17 times since that tweet. So yeah, I guess I was wrong, but it's not about being wrong and right. It's about how much money you make when you're right, how much money you lose when you're wrong. And the legends of the business, Julian George, Druck, they're right 58% of the time. I'm aspiring to get to 51, right? And so I don't need to be right. And particularly in venture capital, it's all about the power law. If I invest in 20 companies, 5 are going to be zeros. Another 5 are going to be bleh. Another 5 are going to be maybe okay to good. 3 will be very good. And 1 or 2, if you're lucky, will blow the doors off. And that's the difference between having a 3X fund and a 6X fund. Exactly. And that's fun. I love that, right? I mean, symmetry, exponential growth is the 8th wonder of the world, right? You put 1 grain of sand on the chessboard, and by the time you get to the 64th square, and you double every time, by the time you get to 64th square, you could cover India 3.5 meters deep. If I can lose $1, but I can make 10, 15, 20, it's a really good asymmetric trade. If I can make 50 cents and lose $1, why would anyone do that? And if I can lose 10% and make 20%, that's pretty good. In fact, I might even add a little leverage to that. But so trades have different, I mean, you did this for a living. You managed risk in financial services. So you understand it, but most people we're just not good at math, right? If I say, what's 2 times 2? Everybody says, oh, 4, why? 17 times 23. I'll wait. That's the limit of human intelligence. The average person can't do that without a calculator. So you asked about, how are you on nonlinear regression? Metcalfe's law. Not very good. How about exponential math? Like if I take 20 linear steps, I'm at the other side of my office. If I take 20 exponential steps, I get to high five you twice because I go around the world twice. People say that's bullshit. Do the math. Just do the math.
What would his advice be to younger guys who want to start investing?
I believe if you are under 65, it should actually be against the law for you to own bonds, right? I think you should have to own equity, private equity, real estate, commodities, venture capital, and you should put it as much as you can in the tax deferred structures. So max out your 401ks and et cetera. But generally speaking, have nothing in the guaranteed bucket because your fixed income is your future income, right? The things you're going to do in the future. And worrying about AI replacing you, I think makes no sense. It's right. I mean, every technology that's come along, people said, oh, it's going to destroy jobs. Here's a fact. There are more jobs in the world today than any time in human history, despite the fact that we've destroyed more jobs than existed for most of the last, 3,000 years. So yes, jobs get destroyed, but new ones come up faster. Jeff Bezos, 26 years ago, had an idea to start a little bookstore on the internet. And today they employ 5 million people. That was probably yesterday's data. It's probably 5.2 million. More than half of the net new jobs in the past 12 months were Amazon. So those jobs didn't exist. And there's so much innovation that's going on. And look, Jimmy Song has this great sentiment about this. If you live in a fiat world, you're a slave. I know it's a politically charged term. Nobody likes that term, but you're a slave. And you're a slave to your job and you're a slave to the fiat that you're paid because they can take the value away through inflation or devaluation. If you unleash yourself by moving some of that fiat into Bitcoin, you empower yourself because now it's in a deflationary currency instead of an inflationary currency. And you preserve your purchasing power and you can unlock your creativity. You can spend more time being creative and coming up with new ideas. And the one thing I will never bet against, and I will always bet on with leverage, human ingenuity, particularly in times of stress. Times of stress bring out the best in people. 2 weeks ago, when Silicon Valley Bank was going down and everybody was saying, the blood's running in the streets, and as Lord Rothschild said, right, that's when you want to invest. I should have worn my red pants. I have a pair of red pants. And I broke out the Bitcoin orange pants. And we're up over 30% since then. And in the spite of global financial crisis too. So I'm taking full credit. I'm just kidding around. But I am wildly bullish on Bitcoin. I am wildly bullish on the future of crypto broadly. And I know some people don't like that because they're like, you're a shit coiner, but whatever. I'm bullish on the technology. I'm bullish on human ingenuity. I'm bullish on the future because it will always be brighter. We have hiccups along the way, sure. Do we got to overcome obstacles? Sure. Am I probably less popular today because of some of the things I said? Sure. Do I care? Not really.
Did you enjoy this video? Want us to bring more content from Mark Yusko to the channel? Let us know in the comments below, and please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks.